Hey yo, what's good everybody? Hope that you guys are having a super blessed day. And welcome back to another one of my tier list ranking videos where today I'm going to be ranking the NFL running backs heading into the 2019-2020 season. Now, if you guys haven't seen the first ranking video that I did where I was ranking the NFL quarterbacks, you guys can click in one of these corners. Oh yeah, but the video is pretty straightforward. I'm going to be ranking these running backs according to how I feel they're going to be playing heading into this season. So real quick before we hop into the list, be sure to leave this video a like. Let's get this video to 700 likes and be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn your notifications because we're dropping videos all the time. But with that being said, let's get right into ranking these running backs. Yo, real quick before we get into this tier list, I need to let you guys know I am making adjustments throughout the video. So if you guys see me put a player somewhere and you're like, how are you putting this player this high or how are you putting a player this low? Just keep on watching the video because I do make adjustments and corrections throughout the video. So give a brother a chance. All right, enjoy the list. All right, so first off, I want to rank some of the below average running backs simply because there are a lot of running backs that I have no idea. Like, I believe I looked them up beforehand. This is Zach Zenner, I want to say. Probably was playing pretty okay, but I just have no idea who he is. So yeah, he's good to go there. Who else can I put in this below average category? I also don't know. Also, if I don't know who these people are, like please let me know it down in the comment section. Also, if I'm making any bad picks, be sure to put it down in the comment section as well. Yeah, I don't know who this is. So first up, we're going to be taking a look at Kris Carson. Kris Carson, I would say I would put him in this above average category. Had a really solid year, rushed for over 1,000 yards. Overall was had a very just solid year. So I'd put him in that above average category. Next up, we have one of my favorite running backs, which I kind of hate to put him here, but I'm going to have to put Lesean Mccoy as average. Just heading into this season, he's not the same shady McCoy as we've seen before, and Josh Allen seems to be the team's new go-to running back, I guess. But yeah, no, Lesean McCoy heading into this season, I mean, he didn't even get over 600 yards rushing last season, so I'd put him right here in this average category heading into next season. Next up, we have Aaron Jones of the Green Bay Packers. I would put him ahead of Lesean McCoy if it lets me. There we go. So obviously, we know that Green Bay is definitely more of a passing team. You have Aaron Rodgers there, so you don't really need to have a strong running game. But like a couple years ago, Ty Montgomery was their #1 running back, so they have been adding more true running backs to help stabilize that backfield. So Aaron Jones, overall, he had a very solid year, so nothing too crazy. So I would put him in that average category. Next up, we have Matt Breida. I'm gonna put him above Aaron Jones. He took off like a rocket in the beginning of the season. I was like, yo, this dude he's a fantasy stealer this year. And then he cooled off tremendously in the back half of the season. He was on pace for like 1,600 yards, and then he only ended up having 800. So like that's just how much he cooled off at the end. So had a very strong start. That might have been because Jimmy Garoppolo was there, and obviously when you have Jimmy G there, you have more of a passing threat. So I don't know, but he has the potential to be in this above average category heading into next year. But as of what he did last season and what I feel like he's going to be doing heading into next season, I think he's definitely in that average category. All right, Ezekiel Elliott, pretty easy, elite. Don't even have to question it. But where is he in the elite? We're gonna have to find out later on in this list. So obviously next up we have Devonta Freeman, and he got hurt way early in the season. So I'm gonna put him in this average category just because with the resurgence of who's their main running back last year? Tevin Coleman. So they have some other pieces in that backfield. So I don't think he's going to be just the de facto go-to running back like he was in years past. So I'm gonna put him in this average category, and then I can't put him at the top. I'd put him at the bottom of this average category just because they do have so many other weapons in that backfield as well as just their whole offense in general. So I feel like he's probably going to get lost more in the rotation and become more of just a utility player rather than the go-to running back in Atlanta. Next up, we have Kenyan Drake. I like Kenyan Drake's game a lot. I'm gonna put him above Aaron Jones just because Frank Gore was their leading rusher, but I feel like eventually Frank Gore has to start slowing down. Like eventually he has to, but I think that going into this year, he's going to be taking a step back, and Kenyan Drake's going to become more of that featured back. And he has the talent too. I mean, Alabama kid, like he can catch the ball at the backfield. Obviously he could run. So I'm gonna put Kenyan Drake right here in the average category still, but I think he's going to be taking more steps forward going into this season. Next up, we have my man, Phillip Lindsey. I'm gonna put him in this borderline elite category. I think with adding Joe Flacco, he's only going to help him not only back off the linebackers from the box so he can have even more running lanes. But also, we have a decent quarterback who can actually get him the ball out of the backfield. So I think that Phillip Lindsey had a great season last year. I know Denver has a lot of running backs in that backfield, but I think regardless, Phillip Lindsey is always going to be that guy that's going to get the first touches. He's going to get the bulk of the touches, and then the other guys are going to come in more for like third down situations or just when Phillip Lindsey gets tired. Next up, we have Leonard Fournette. Now, Leonard Fournette's tricky because he got hurt really early on in the season, and then there was like, oh, is he having a falling out with the franchise? And then like people just didn't really know what to do. I'm gonna still put him in the borderline elite category. He's definitely fallen back. I would have put him close to the top of the borderline elite category his rookie season. But I think with the addition of Nick Foles, it's again just like the same with Phillip Lindsey. It's gonna help back off some of those linebackers from the box, so he has more running room to go. As well, he's gonna have a full season just to get healthy and get back to 100%. So I think that Leonard Fournette, he's still one of the better running backs in the league. I think he's definitely fallen back just with how much he was hurt this past season, and just with the fact that there have been other guys who have been stepping up there. So I'm gonna still put him in this borderline elite category, but he's more than likely gonna be at the back end of it. Next up, we have Austin Eckler. Now, I really like Austin Eckler. I'm gonna put him in this above average category. I can't put him ahead of Kris Carson, but I definitely think, especially with how Phillip Rivers uses him, I think that he is a very solid running back. I don't think he's not going to be at the top of the above average category. He's going to slide down a little bit, but the games that he is being used and used well, he plays he's just effective. Like, there's just no other way to put it. He's just effective. So that's why I'm gonna put Austin Eckler in this above average category. Next up, we have Payton Barbour. I'm gonna put him ahead of Austin Eckler. I think just if we're talking about running backs, obviously he is a better running back than Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler is more of that receiver running back type, but Payton Barbour, he was just getting it done last year. I mean, over 800 yards rushing. Didn't really contribute that much in the passing game, but I mean, Tampa Bay needs to figure out who they want as their quarterback. But overall, he's a very promising young running back there, so that's why I'm gonna put him in this above average category. Next up, we have Jordan Howard. Again, I'm gonna put him right here in this above average category. Not better than Kris Carson, but I mean, Chicago has a lot of really young, talented pieces who are all developing at the same time, which is good and bad if you look at it. It's good because you have a young team who are all growing together. It's bad because when all their contracts are coming up, you're gonna have to pay some and then get rid of others. So that's just from the GM side of it. But overall, Jordan Howard is a great running back in Chicago, and he is going to be helping them win a ton of games heading into next season. Okay, next up, we have one of my favorite running backs from last season, Marlin Mac. I'm gonna put him at the top. I know that Kris Carson had a better overall stat numbers than Marlin Mac, but Marlon Mac, first off, he played less games than Kris Carson did. Kris Carson played in all 16 games. Marlon Mac, he is going to be so fun. That dynamic of him and Andrew Luck, they're about to terrorize the AFC. I'm telling you guys right now, Indy is back, and Marlon Mac is one of the reasons why. Obviously, Andrew Luck is the biggest reason why, but having a solid running back, bruh, this dude is nice. Actually, some of you guys were probably already typing it down below. Kris Carson did not play in all 16 games. He only played in 14. So yeah, thank you for letting me know. Actually, you know what? Now that I'm looking at this, I have to put Kris Carson actually above Leonard Fournette. Just heading into next season, I was taking a better look at Kris Carson's stats. He went off last season. He had 8.2 yards per rush. Like, this dude was a monster. So I'm sorry I know all the Seattle fans are probably already typing, how you put Kris Carson in just above average? He's definitely borderline elite. So calm down. I corrected it. I have to work through these things. Just let me work through the list. Next up, we have Dion Lewis. I'm gonna put him in this average category. I'm gonna put him right now. The Titans, they need to figure out who they want as their main guy. Do they want Dion Lewis or do they want Derrick Henry? Derrick Henry obviously had that crazy game where everyone's like, oh, we finally got the Derrick Henry that we all thought he was, but I mean, it's just super inconsistent. And then Dion Lewis was nowhere near as effective as he was when he was with the Patriots. So I'm gonna put him in this average category. I feel like he was, it wasn't like he was some elite running back at New England, but I mean, overall, Dion Lewis is a very solid running back. A lot of teams would love to have him, especially with his receiving ability out of the backfield. So overall, I think he's an average running back. Next up, we have Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon, to me, is extremely close to being elite. He's borderline elite. I mean, this dude went off last year. I mean, he had over 1,100 rushing yards. Like, this dude was just getting it done, especially with how often AJ Green was hurt last season. Like, he really helped take that Cincinnati team and just made sure that they weren't one of the worst teams in the NFL. even though they kind of were, but he made him at least respectable. Next up, we have Damian Williams, who I'm gonna put him in this below average category. I still need to figure out who this guy is. I'm gonna look him up at some point during the making of this video, but yeah, no, I'm gonna put him at the bottom. He really just was not able to get it done when he had the chance to become the team's leading running back. I mean, when Kareem Hunt got suspended, Damian Williams was supposed to be the first guy, and he was kind of balling out the previous season, but just really wasn't able to get it done. So definitely a below average running back. Next up, we have Tevin Coleman. I'm going to put him, he's above average, but Payton Barbour, I feel like you're not supposed to be as high up here. You're really not, yeah. Payton Barbour is going to be at the back of this list. Austin Eckler, I'm going to put Tevin Coleman right here. With Devonta Freeman coming back, like obviously they're going to be fighting over who gets the most touches. But the fact that Melvin Gordon was still there with the Chargers, and obviously he still is, but that Austin Eckler was still being able to be as productive as he was, like that just shows how impressive he is. So Tevin Coleman is mainly here just because of how impressive these other guys are rather than his lack of talent. Marshawn Lynch, I hate to do it to you, bro, but I'm gonna have to put you in this average category. I'm not gonna disrespect you and put you in below average, even though I feel like your stats next year are going to indicate that. I just can't. I mean, that's beast mode right there. So I'm just gonna put him at the end of the average category. But I mean, he's coming to the end of his career, so I mean, I'm not expecting him to be rushing for 1,000 yards. And obviously, the Raiders don't really. I don't think they have a clear direction for their team. They did draft pretty well, and especially with Josh Jacobs, their addition in the draft, like he's just gonna be getting less and less touches. So Marshawn Lynch, I'm not gonna disrespect you and put you in below average. I'm just gonna put you at the end of the average category. Next up, we have the lightning in the bottle himself, Tory Cohen. I'm gonna put Tory Cohen. I'm gonna put him above Tevin Coleman. I think Tory Cohen is just an offensive weapon. I mean, over 700 yards receiving, 400 yards rushing. Like, this dude was just able to get it done. I feel like Austin Eckler was a better version of Tory Cohen. But Tory Cohen, don't be surprised if he is taking over more towards the top of the above average category. This dude is nice, and he's only going to get better the longer that he's in the NFL. Next up, we have James Conner. I'm going to put him in this elite category. I think what he did last year, he more than cemented his just place there. I mean around 1,300 yards of total offense, 12 touchdowns. Like, this dude was just a baller. And for him to step into Le'Veon Bell's shoes and play it that well, like obviously he was just taken off super early in the season. He calmed down a little bit, but not enough to where it was like, oh man, did James Conner fall off? Like, no, like I think he's going to be one of the young stars, and Pittsburgh is going to really build around him and Juju Smith-Schuster. So I think that he's definitely in that elite category. He's going to fall back a little bit, but I think that he's definitely in that elite category. Next up, we have another guy who we're going to be adding to the elite category, hands down, Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is one of the best all-around running back prospects. I thought he was. I really wanted Denver to pick him up in that draft, but obviously Carolina, they were going to swoop him up. He's just a monster. I mean, almost 2,000 yards of all-purpose yards. He's only getting bigger, stronger, and faster, which is just crazy to me, but he's one of the best running backs in the league, hands down. Next up, we have another guy who we're going to be adding. I'm going to put Saquon. I'm definitely going to put Saquon above Christian McCaffrey. I feel like he's just not a better receiver than Christian McCaffrey, but he does the running back position better than Christian McCaffrey does. I'm going to put him behind Zeke. I feel like Zeke is just consistently, obviously we've only seen 1 year of Saquon, and that year was quite impressive, but I feel like Zeke just year in and year out has just been one of the best, if not the best running back in the NFL, and I'm going to leave him there. So that's why Saquon, I have him as the #2 running back in the NFL right now. All right, now that I'm taking a look at this list, I'm going to slide Leonard Fournette back, and I'm going to put Marlin Mac at the bottom of the borderline elite. I feel like, especially because this is more of like a prediction of next season, I think Marlon Mack's going to be taking huge steps forward. So I'm going to put Marlon Mack into the borderline elite and drop Leonard Fournette down. And with that being said, Nick Chubb is also going to be put into, I'm gonna put him at the top of the above average. I feel like he had a great rookie season. I feel like he's only going to get better. I can't put him above Marlon Mack, and I don't think he's in the borderline elite category just yet. Obviously, with all the receiving help that Cleveland just got, I think that his role is going to be diminished a little bit just because Baker has more options to throw to, and so the running game is not going to be as prevalent, but he's still going to be getting a bunch of touches. He is still a great running back, so I'm going to put him at the top of the above average, and then I'm going to slide Marlon Mack up into the borderline elite category. So to me, Doug Martin was an average running back. I'm going to put him behind Aaron Jones, but ahead of Deion Lewis. I feel like for what he was working with in Oakland, I feel like he did a really good job. I would rather have these 3 running backs going into next season, but especially with how old Doug Martin is getting. But overall, Doug Martin's still a very solid running back in this league. Next up, we have Melvin Gordon, and Melvin Gordon is definitely in a borderline elite running back. Honestly, I'm gonna put him above Kris Carson. I know Kris Carson had a better year, but Melvin Gordon was hurt a lot, and he still put up huge stats. So Melvin Gordon to me is one of the better running backs in this league, and I'm excited to see what he's going to be doing out there. Next up, we have CJ Anderson. I'm gonna put him in this above average category. I feel like I'm gonna put him, it's hard because he has starter running back potential, but just because the fact they have Todd Gurley, he's never going to be that starting running back. But yeah, I'm out of disrespect for Payton Barbour because he is the leading running back in Tampa Bay, but you can't deny how talented that CJ Anderson is. CJ Anderson is like how Nick Foles was last year. It's like Nick Foles could be a starting quarterback somewhere, but the fact that he's still a backup, you can't put him ahead of some other guys. So I can't put him super high up on this list, but I would take CJ Anderson over any of these average running backs. So that's why I'm gonna put him in the above average category. Next up, we have Derrick Henry, and I'm gonna put him ahead of CJ Anderson. Obviously, he had those games where it's like, whoa, bro, like you are the dominant running back that we thought you were going to be. He's just so inconsistent with it. Like, he'll have one game where he'll run for 250 yards and the next game he'll run for like 20. Like, it's just so inconsistent, and I can't have that if I'm a team. I got to make sure that my running backs are nice out there. So I'm gonna put him, he's definitely an above average running back. I would take him in a lot of different situations, but I can't move him up ahead of a lot of these guys simply because it's like, bro, you got to be more consistent when you're getting your opportunities. Next up, we have David Johnson. I'm going to put him in this above or borderline elite category. I'm gonna put him ahead of Marlin Mac simply because of just how dominant he was in 2016 and 2017. Obviously, he got hurt and we weren't able to really see what he was able to do. I mean, he still had a really good year this last year. I don't think they switched up a lot of the offensive philosophy, and it was like, oh, they weren't using him as much as they were in 2016 when he was a de facto top 3 running back in the league. So I'm gonna put him in this borderline elite category. I'm excited to see what Cliff Kingsbury is able to do out there with that air raid offense and see if they're able to get him some more passes out of the backfield, or if that actually limits his role a lot more. But I think he's still one of the top, he's definitely in the top 10. What is this? 4, 8. Yeah, he's still in that top 10 running back category, but overall he has fallen off a decent amount with that wrist injury. Yo, so real quick, I'm actually gonna take this guy off. I'm just gonna not rank him because I don't know who this guy is. Well, I think this is Jerick McKinnon, but I wasn't able to find like any of his stats for last season, so I don't know if he was hurt or I don't know where his stats are. So I simply have no idea who this is. Like, if you guys know who this is, be sure to comment it down below. So I'm just gonna not rank them just because it's not fair for me to rank someone I don't know who they are. Darren Sproles, average. I'm gonna put him above Lesean McCoy. He's still getting it done out there in Philadelphia, but he's just not the same running back that he was before. This is Carrion Johnson. I'm excited to see what Carrion Johnson does. I'm gonna put him behind Nick Chubb, but bruh, Carrion Johnson, he was coming on fire last season towards the end of the season. So Carrion Johnson, to me, these two guys are my most exciting guys to watch next year. I feel like they have huge potential to take huge steps forward and just become one of the more dominant running backs in the league. So Carrion Johnson, you're nice in my book. Now that I'm looking at this list again, Leonard Fournette, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to slide you back some more, homie. Where am I going? I think I'm just gonna slide you one back and then put AP right here. I feel like just heading into next season, Adrian Peterson is still an above average running back. These are just the guys who I would take over him. I think he had, like, again, he's one of those guys that he has to start taking a step backwards. So overall, I'm gonna put him right there, but he's still one of the better running backs in the league. Next up, we have Mark Ingram. I believe he has taken steps. Ooh, now that I'm looking at those faces, I'm gonna have to put him at the top of the average category. Ooh, actually, to me, he's an average running back. I feel like the year where he just kind of took off, that was more of Alvin Kamara taking steps forward as like, oh, and the duo just really worked well together. I don't think that it was showing how extremely good Mark Ingram was. Obviously, he had that PED scandal, so I'm gonna put him right here in the average category. He has potential to kind of step up more towards like the tail end of the above average category, but I feel like Alvin Kamara kind of like rejuvenated his career rather than himself doing it. Next up, we have Soni Michelle, another one of these rookie running backs who I really liked watching last year. I'm gonna put him above AP. I feel like Tom Brady's just gonna use him more and more, and especially because he was hurt and then he didn't even start in the beginning of the season. So the Patriots, and they, the Patriots, they always know how to find ways to just really get the best and the most out of their players. So Soni Michelle, to me, he is going to be nice out there in New England. Next up, we have Jamal Williams. I'm going to put him above Darren Sproles. I feel like he had a pretty solid year. I mean, obviously he was splitting carries with Aaron Jones, and again, the Packers don't really run the ball as much. I mean, they do. They are more balanced, but they don't have to. They don't rely on it. They rely more on Aaron Rodgers. So they have two. I would say that's fair. They have 2 average running backs in that backfield. So that's where I'm gonna put Jamal Williams. Next up, we got Alvin Kamara. I'm gonna put him right here. Definitely, easily borderline elite. Kid is nice, especially like the Saints. They're always going to be extremely nice. They got him, Drew Brees, and Michael Thomas out there who are that's a solid core right there, and they're just gonna keep on growing together. I feel like do I want to have Phillip Lindsey that high up off only 1 season? Yeah, I feel like that's more fair. Yeah, I feel like that's fair. I had Phillip Lindsey up a little bit too high. Obviously, he had a great season, just took off, but I can't expect that to be the same. I would love to expect it to be the same, but I would rather have these 2 guys over Phillip Lindsey just off of their consistency and just how dynamic of players that they are. Next up, we got Lamar Miller, definitely above average. I'm gonna put him. Leonard Fournette, you're falling, bro. I'm sorry, bro. You're falling a lot. I'm gonna put him right here. Actually, Jordan Howard, where were your stats at? Yeah, I'm gonna put Jordan Howard ahead of him simply because he's a younger running back, and I feel like Chicago has a more run-focused game just because Mitch Trubisky isn't as polished of a passer as you would like. Deshaun Watson definitely more of the polished passer, so I feel like that's why Lamar Miller doesn't get as many touches, but he's still one of the better running backs in the league, and I feel like above average is a solid spot for him. Next up, we got Dalvin Cook. Now, Dalvin Cook, to me, there's times where it's like, bro, there's a reason why you were a first-round running back pick. But then there's other times where it's like, bro, and then obviously he's been hurt. So I'm gonna put him at the top of the average category. I know he should be in this above average category, but I just feel like he hasn't shown enough consistency to be like, oh no, he's definitely one of the better running backs in the league. So I just need to see some more consistency from him. Next up, we got Isaiah Crowell. I'm gonna put him right above this guy. I don't know what his last name is. I forgot. Doug Martin. There we go. Doug Martin. Again, another younger running back. Pretty solid year, nothing too crazy. And the last guy, Mr. Todd Gurley. Where am I going to put him? To me, Todd Gurley is the 3rd best running back in the league. I know this top 3 is super debated. I think Ezekiel Elliott has just been consistently the best running back in the league. Saquon is the future. Todd Gurley, really good, really talented. Dude can do it all. I feel like he's getting banged up a lot. I feel like he's not as healthy as the team portrays. And I feel like he's still going to be one of the best running backs in the league, hands down. But I just don't think that he's going to be able to outrun these 2 guys heading forward. And honestly, I can see Christian McCaffrey taking his spot by the end of next year. So we'll see about that. But as of right now, I believe that Todd Gurley is the 3rd best running back in the NFL. All right, you guys, but what did you guys think of my list? Be sure to comment down below who I got right, who I got wrong. Who do you guys think should be higher, lower? Just go roast my list as much as you want in the comment section. All right, but with that being said, hope that y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave this video a like. Let's get this video to 700 likes because that lets me know that you guys enjoyed this video. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn your notifications so you guys can stay on top of all the videos that I am coming out with. All right, you guys, with all that being said, hope that y'all have a super blessed rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Ciao.